Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into a report so intricate it might make you question your understanding of real estate. Just kidding, or am I? Before we jump in, if you enjoy getting the inside scoop on corporate documents, be sure to subscribe and join our Discord community for even more detailed discussions. The link is in the description below. We are looking at a Form 8K filing from Brookfield Real Estate Income Trust. Inc. and 8K is a report companies file with the Securities and Exchange Commission to announce major events that could affect investors. Think of it as an uh-oh or yay moment report. This particular report is dated May 25. That's the date of the event that they're reporting, not necessarily when they filed the report. It gives investors a heads up about potentially important changes or updates within the company. This report is about something called unregistered sales of equity securities. Basically, the company sold some of its stock, but didn't register those sales with the SEC, can make sure everything is on the up and up. But there are exceptions, and the company believes it's meeting one of those exceptions, The company Brookfield Real Estate Income Trust sold stock to a couple of different groups. First, they sold stock to their advisor, which is the company that manages the Real Estate Income Trust. This sale was in payment for management fees. Think of it like paying your landlord, but instead of cash, you give them a piece of the building. For April 2025, the advisor chose to receive their payment in Class I common shares. The company issued 97,617 shares to cover 1,032,627 Porty Chavigny claims this was allowed under a section of the Securities Act that permits transactions not involving a public offering. Next, the company issued more Class I shares to something called a feeder vehicle. A feeder vehicle is like a holding tank that gathers investments from non-US investors. These investors use the feeder vehicle to invest in the company's distribution reinvestment plan, or DRIP. With a DRIP, instead of taking dividends in cash, investors automatically reinvest those dividends to buy more shares of the company. On May 20, 2025, the company issued 12,247 Class I shares to these feeder vehicles, worth about $129, not involving a public offering, and $400 not involving a public offering. The company also issued Class I shares to Brookfield and its affiliates, also through the distribution reinvestment plan. So Brookfield and its related companies are reinvesting their dividends to buy more shares. On May 20, 2025, they received 1,816 shares worth $19,211. The company says this sale didn't need to be registered because it falls under an exception in the Securities Act. Finally, the company issued Class E shares to Brookfield and its affiliates through the same distribution reinvestment plan. So not just Class I shares, but Class E shares too. On May 20, 2025, Brookfield and its affiliates got 6,094 Class E shares worth $64,359. The company is saying again that this didn't require registration due to a specific exemption in the Securities Act. And now let's step back and look at the big picture. The key thing to understand here is that the company is issuing shares without going through the usual registration process with the SEC. They're relying on an exemption that says these sales don't need to be registered. These exemptions are generally used when the sales are to a limited number of sophisticated investors who don't need the full protection of a registered offering. One potential risk is that issuing a lot of unregistered shares can dilute the value of existing shares, meaning each share represents a smaller piece of the company. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's something investors should be aware of. Overall, this finding tells us that Brookfield Real Estate Income Trust is actively using its distribution reinvestment plan to issue shares to a range of investors, including its own affiliates and international investors through feeder vehicles. They are also paying management fees with company stock. This can be a pretty normal way to give out shares without registering with the SEC. So what's your take on these unregistered sales and the company's overall strategy? Do you think it's a smart move for the company and its investors? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown helpful, give us a like and subscribe for more corporate deep dives. Also, remember to join our Discord community for more discussion. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.